And one of the kids had a really good history book until it got to democracy. And it was just, I mean, I've read it like 2 or 3 times because the story, because it starts in Samaria and went in. But boy, the last part when it gets to democracy, I'm like, yeah, no, that's.
I like the fact how they're changing the meanings of all the words.
Well, yeah, that's.
Well, you have to let me tell the story about the human rights that we had to learn in that class.
Okay, well, we got.
And actually, you should also tell the story about the when you were going to the other school, and they asked you about going to the dumb school, the ghetto.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they would never in high school teach the trivium. They say, okay, we got these 6 questions, who, what, where, when, why, and how, and you gather your facts, then you discuss, why these are relevant and why you think that, and then how it works, and then you repeat, and they never. Because if you ever just took those 6 questions and applied it to the concept of government, democracy, and all that, kids 8, 9 years old will be saying, that doesn't make any sense. That's not that. No.
I call BS on that.
Don't forget it's logic, grammar, rhetoric.
Right.
Understanding the logic behind what you're saying, the grammar of how you're saying it, and putting it together rhetorically in complete sentences and paragraphs for people to understand. And that's the cornerstone of the trivium.
Grammar, logic.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I had that backwards.
I know what you meant.
Right.
And it's not on air, so.
Well.
Wow. We should be back in about 5 seconds.
Just ask about political science.
Okay. I wrote it all down. Welcome back to the No State Project live from Libertopia 2013. Glad to be with you here. I'm Marc Stevens. The website, marcstevens.net. Like I told everyone when we did the talk today, the Call of Shames that we played, right, are just a fraction of what we have at marcstevens.net. I think there's over 9,000.
That's right.
I think
that's an official number.
Well, 9,000 megs worth, probably. Is that?
Oh, at least, yeah, megs, sure.
That's accurate.
Right.
I think that's not.
Or maybe even kilobytes.
Yeah, we've got quite a.
We'll count the bytes later, but.
Yeah, we'll count the bytes. It's up there. But welcome back, everyone. Libertopia 2014. Talking with someone who we'll get to, because you were at Libertopia 2012, and that's kind of where. But before we get to that, you've got to tell us. Because we were talking before how you, for a project in school in AP English, you read Government Indicted, and you had an interesting thing happen in your political science class. So it was a college-level political science that you were taking in high school.
Yeah, I was taking political science. That was a community college course, and the teacher showed us a video, because he would show us videos and then continue his lectures. And the professor showed us a video, and it was all about human rights. And it said, the human right number 1, all humans are created equal. And I was like, unless you're a cop, right?
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
And because he was talking about the human right of privacy, and he said if a cop is following you on the road for like 30 minutes straight, but he's not pulling you over, not running his sirens or anything like that, is he invading your privacy just by following you? And I said, oh, well, can I follow the cop? And the whole class laughed, and the teacher was like, oh, no, you don't say that. You get a jail time for that. And I was like, oh, but so we're all created equal? And he was just like, no, shaking his head, ignored everything I said, and I was like, okay.
So he had no rational argument or anything to counter that.
I think he just felt like I was being a smartass, but I mean, you're telling me contradictory messages because you're saying that a cop can follow me and it's not invading my privacy, but I can't follow him even though human right number 1 clearly states that all humans are created equal.
Yeah, that. When I was stalked by Mason,
He's not human.
He's not human. Well, that's why we're talking about it being a religion. So what I had happen to me, I did, and I admit it was stupid. I went into Mesa Police Department with my camera and asked them questions that they couldn't answer. They couldn't prove their laws applied, and I got stalked. And they're trying to put What? You think what's the big deal? He followed you around the neighborhood for 10, 15 minutes. What's the big deal? Where's the harm in that? What if I followed you home? Would you, okay? Huh? What would you think then if I actually did that to you? You're... And that's why I'm disagreeing with you there, tough guy. So, did any of the other students have any comments and maybe pig pile on the teacher for his obvious lack of professionalism?
Not really. The people in the class were not very smart, and I shouldn't say smart. They're very close-minded, I suppose. And I'll always remember the first thing he said when we went to his class for the first day. He said that in our classroom were all the future presidents, future members of the Senate, House. These were all our future politicians, and I looked around and I thought, oh my God, I'm scared.
Tax slave, thank you.
I thought, oh God, please tell me that these people aren't going to be trying to control me.
Well, I'm going to throw this out there because your brother mentioned something off air that I'll throw out there just to kind of temper it and not group them all into that, what you're saying. I'm sure there's some are. Well, let's just throw this out that, like you mentioned, and I agree, we've said this is not a generation, this is a generational thing. It's not just, the kids today. But you hit on it, and I think you're absolutely right, that they're taught not to think. And sometimes it's painful to have to sit through all the minutiae because they're trying to teach you by rote. So maybe some of them were just caught in this fog of just going through all this garbage. And at this point, at your age, it's been metaphorically beaten out of you to do what you did, and that was ask a question, right? Because all you did was ask a question that raised,
Controversy.
Well, you were shown, yes. Oh no. Heaven forbid, we're supposed to be a school, which is supposed to be where ideas, right? Isn't that where you're going to learn? And so, the trivium, like we mentioned, grammar. Grammar, logic, rhetoric. All you did was ask a simple question that exposed a contradiction in the teacher's presentation. And instead of addressing you like an adult,
I'm a child and I'm being disrespectful of his authority, and it's not okay.
the thing that I don't understand, that I don't get, is because we've all known scientists. Have you ever, in science class, you can jump in here too, in science class, have you ever asked a question about what you were doing in science, and you asked the teacher, and they gave you the same kind of attitude?
Yes.
Oh, that's sad.
I have.
Oh my God.
I was in class, and it was freshman year, and the teacher was teaching us about global warming. And I said, well...
Oh, you walked into that one.
Well, no, but there is science, and maybe junk science. I'm not taking a position here, but finish.
And I said, well, my family believes global warming is a conspiracy created by isn't real. It's created by the government. And she said, oh, no, and just like shook her hand at me and continued talking. She was like, we're not gonna get into that.
Oh, did you offer any actual science? Okay.
At the time, no.
At the time, well, she was young, but that you didn't ask any questions. Did you challenge them on? Did you ask any questions challenging the actual science? I'm putting the actual science that they were presenting to support the argument.
Always.
Okay. Did they ever answer the question satisfactorily?
No, I'm still confused about it.
I'll say this about it, because I want to get to my buddy Larkin in a second. Whether it's man-made or not, the fact is it's taking the attention away from real serious issues of pollution. Because just like we were talking like with Fukushima and whatnot, those are real problems. And in things like how many they don't even know how many nuclear submarines are on the floor of the ocean. Oh my gosh, that's scary. They don't even know. That doesn't even take into account the fact in South Carolina there is an undetonated nuclear bomb. Okay? And they bought the area and they can't get it out. So to me that's the real You look at you,
There's a woman in Australia, Joanne Nova.
Joanne Nova.
And I don't know her exact website, but she's doing some really good reporting and research on climate warming stuff. So I just want that to go out on the air.
Okay, well, I don't know enough about the science to take it to...
No, I'm just saying that's a good source to look.
Okay, and I just think that it takes the attention away from real actual pollution. So before we're at a time at the top of the hour break, you came here, your dad dragged you to Libertopia in 2012.
Actually, I did.
And you said before that was kind of a life-changing thing. What happened?
I was sitting listening to Larkin Rose give his speech and lecture, and it was just funny because no matter what, I couldn't argue with it, and I just started to sit there and laugh, and I was like, why was I not allowed to think this before? Why
Yeah,
am I
Marc.
stopping myself?
Well, you were already questioning things at that point, but it really came to
Well,
a head
yeah,
when
I
you heard
always,
that.
even in a humor type of way, I've always thought, politically correct, that's the funniest thing ever. What is that, politically correct? Like, come on now. But I guess I didn't really know I was allowed to think like that, I guess. I don't know what my excuse was. I don't think I had one.
Well, maybe it's like what your brother's saying, because I know as kids we're always naturally inquisitive, and my kids instilled that in me, made me more inquisitive, because I used to talk about this at workshops one night. That why? Well, because of this. Yeah, but why that? What causes that? And they metaphoric. Well, maybe in some cases, like the old Catholic schools, they actually would beat out of you any kind of inquisitive nature that you may have. So I would imagine, but like I went through the same kind of thing too. I escaped. I got out when I was 16, which was, like you mentioned, and I think you're absolutely right. It's a common theme on this show and a lot of the shows on LRN that you're taught not to think. Don't question it. They teach things on rote. If they actually taught things like the trivium and the scientific methods, like the scientific method is not limited to just going in and trying to figure out what kind of energy the heart uses. Something I couldn't think of a better